What's up, everybody? It's Dadliest here on Boomduck with another episode of Hidden Gems coming right at you. Now, today we're going to be looking at a game called Octodad Dadliest Catch. Not Deadliest Catch, but Dadliest Catch. This game was released, it is a fairly old one actually. We're looking at a game that's about 7 years old, which isn't typically what Hidden Gems is about. We like to keep things more new and, I guess, hip, as the kids would say these days. No, and I'm not being serious. So, but part of what makes this a hidden gem is because it is so old, I don't think a lot of people know about it. Now, it is a sequel to Octodad, previous game. I'll just go through the admin side of things. It is on sale at the moment. Not sale, it's full price rather, at $21.50 Australian, and I would get it on a sale if it came about. But what is Octodad? What is it all about? It is basically you are playing as an octopus, which is, I guess, masquerading or is pretending to be a human. You've got a wife and two lovely kids. The game kind of starts you off an introductory level when you're getting married. No better way to find your feet and know what to do than your wedding day, right? And where this game is really good at is the charming humor. If you're looking for the dadliest catch of dad humor, and that's your one per episode, bit of a reach coming in early on, but hey, it's quite hard to put Octodad Dadliest Catch into a pun here, so we'll take that. The dad humor really shines through this game. The story, it's got a very nice story. It gives you lots of tasks to do. There's a lot of mini games which can be hilariously fun. You know, that there's dancing, that there's you've got to get up to the top of a playground at one stage. There's one level where you actually have to do like a little arcade, and you've got to get your wife certain toys and an amount of prizes to progress through to the next round. And these mini games are just what you would find in your local arcade. There's your basketball hoops. There's things like your whack-a-mole, I guess you'd call it, where you got to hit them down. Yeah, the scenarios where you work through. So as I mentioned before, there's the wedding. There's also things like another introductory sort of level you do early on. So you got to go through a supermarket, which teaches you, I guess, how to try be sneaky with these controls. The majority of the game is set in an aquarium. But it's not really the settings which make this game. What makes this game is the physics, and by that it's hilarious to control Octodad because each tentacle is controlled individually. So you're not just walking straight like you would in any other game. It's physically hilarious because you move like you're a drunken buffoon who doesn't want last call to be called at the local bar, and actually you're being kicked out of that bar and you're walking down the street trying to find a next bar. You're all over the place. If I were to liken it to anything, which I really can't, it's almost like Mr. Bean type humor where it's so physical, so hilarious that it would have, I guess, a wide reach of appeal because it is just that there's no direct sense of humor which makes this game great. You know, it's not going to be a particularly intelligent dialogue or I mean, yeah, there are the dad jokes which I mentioned, but the physicalness is just hilarious. You know, it'll be great for kids to play. It'll be good for teenagers and adults alike. I think everyone can appreciate the hilarity that ensues in this physical comedy, because there are times where you're just wanting to, you know, even walk straight is hilarious. It can get a bit frustrating when things go wrong, But once you've got the know-how to control Octodad and kind of, I guess, realize that you've got to remember which is your left tentacle, which is your right tentacle, and get your rhythm going with your walk, or make sure you're picking up the right thing. And once you get your head around the physics, it does become quite a bit easier, but it is also at times still challenging to remember that those controls, as silly as it seems. Playing on a keyboard and mouse, which was my experience, was difficult. I have heard that it's easier doing it with a controller. I'm not going to touch on that too much because I didn't use a controller. I stuck with my keyboard and mouse. And it's quite funny because there were times where I felt I had a rhythm for the movement, and then there were other times where I had to actually stop out the game because I was getting very frustrated with myself. But I think that's just my own experience. I don't think, I'm a bit of an idiot if you haven't told already. The one thing I would say about this game is fairly short. I did it in, I think, at about 3 hours, maybe a little over 3 hours. But from what I've read, most people can do it in about 2 hours. There are obviously, achievement hunters that can take more out of this game. And to be honest, it is one that I think once you've played it, you might want to play it again in the future. Certainly not one you'd want to jump and play right again, I wouldn't think. But it does carry an appeal that it won't get old. It's, as I said, it's about 7 years old, and I've just fully enjoyed my experience in this game. I do seem to remember I did play this on as multiplayer. It's down as on Steam as single player, but I seem to remember playing this multiplayer when each individual person controlled a certain limb, and that was absolutely hilarious. Now, that isn't my experience just recently, because I have just revisited the game to play through the story from the start to the finish, and it's quite a bit different from what I remember it to be. I don't know whether anything's changed or whether I was playing the same version on Steam. I don't even know if it's on console or not. That might be something to check out. But yeah, the game is short. It's hilarious. Can be frustrating. There's different elements to the levels. As I said, there's one level which is very mini game focused. There's one which is quite stealth based focused. There are a couple of introductory levels that I've touched on to kind of get you up to grips with the game. And the thing with Octodad himself is, for a character who doesn't actually speak at all, he does kind of blubber and talk in his octopus way, but the subtitles and everything is totally relatable, especially for, I think, adults, potentially ones who are married with kids themselves will appreciate it that much more. It's just a really fun game. It is one I would certainly recommend, as with most games, if not all games that are going to be in Hidden Gems, because this is what Hidden Gems is about. It's about games which you may not have heard of, but it's worth having a look at. This certainly falls into that category. For anyone who hasn't played this game, as I said, put it on your wish list. Look at it on special. Know that it is a fairly short game. You will probably do it within 1 or 2 runs if you're a bit more patient than me. Within a few hours it'll be done. But for those few hours, I can guarantee you'll be laughing or potentially pulling your hair out, depending on how you are. But that's all I've got to say. This has been Octodad Dadliest Catch. Dark for Boomduck. I'll see you next time. Right.